Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another Rebelscum.com celebrity interview. And I am joined by the very talented and very sweet Miss Misty Rosas, who played none other than Kuiil in The Mandalorian. So, yes, Nick Nolte did, of course, voice the character of Kuiil, but it's my understanding, though, he wasn't ever physically on set during any of the filming of The Mandalorian. All of the physical attributes of bringing Kuiil to life was Miss Misty here. So, Misty, what was that like? How did you get started as an actress? And how did that lead you to playing Kuiil in The Mandalorian?
I got started as a performer actually at Disneyland. I was in college, and a dancer that I was doing theater shows with in college asked, like, have you ever auditioned for Disneyland? It's like, what? What's that? And because of my height, she's like, you would definitely get cast there. So as one of the characters. So that was my introduction, is doing Phantasmic was my very first show. I was 18. It was really amazing. And I did the Dancing Monkeys, and first character was Donald Duck, Minnie Mouse, and then I was what's called a swing for all of the Mickey Mouse parts, which, if something, God forbid, happened to any of the other performers mid-show, you would get thrown into that and have to really quickly remember choreography. They'd get you all set up, and then you go out and do that role. So
You've just been making memories in childhoods for people since the start of your career. It didn't really start with any movies or anything like that. You just hit the ground running, playing all these fantastic characters and making memories for people for many, many years.
Yeah. One of my favorite memories is I got to be, we were called the pole climbers, which were the birds in the Lion King parade. Because that gave me an opportunity to take the, 18 plus years of gymnastics and all of that training into a creative art of, combining my strength and flexibility and choreography to the Lion King, the Circle of Life, which again was very powerful and emotional. And that was such a fun show because it was the parade, of the entire parade trekking by. And then, we stopped at each station and did the actual show. And it was just, I've been very lucky. So, and during college, I actually was not studying any type of performing arts, but again, I love how just what's meant for you kind of just weaves in and out of your life. My coach that I trained with is an elite gymnast. The production, and producers for the movie Congo were trying to find their Amy. And I fit the requirements as far as being under 5 feet and super strong upper body, just strong period, cardiovascular strength. And I made it through with all of the auditions, like the movement audition. There was an acting audition to be able to see if you can take direction, and it's they gave scenarios of they wanted to see if you could emote and move through fear, anger, all of that. And so then I made it through that and got to go to Stan Winston Studios and audition for him, and I got that role. So again, I was not it was a crash course for me in all things, movies, and learning about cameras and blocking, also learning how to move in quadruped, how to work in a blind animatronic head and deal with the weight and the heat. So it was a really crazy, this is meant for you. And then after that, I went to acting class and performance art school and music and dance. So I kind of did things backwards. But yeah, here I am.
That's pretty fantastic. Yeah. And I can only assume that the work experience you got in Congo only more prepared you for the roles you would end up having in Star
Mhm.
Wars, which of course was playing Kuiil,
Yeah.
but also the character that you got to completely bring to life on yourself, the Frog Lady from
Yeah.
season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So not only did you play those characters, but it's my understanding you played a few more characters in season 3. Now,
Yeah.
the Frog Lady from season 2 didn't return, but I heard there was another Frog Lady in season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, she was like a little princess frog. She was part of that, the royal, that luncheon scene with Jack Black and Lizzo, and she was right there, and like, Bryce Dallas Howard, who again, was our director during Frog Lady's beautiful reunion with her, great love. She directed that, so she gave little frog princess a cute little moment. So it was really cool. And I think my favorite thing from again season 2, because I just never know how she's gonna resonate with people. Again, I just give her all my love and energy and skill set that I have, and that's all you can ever do. But the people are just so clever and creative on social media, and the memes and the different, like, they would do a lot of 80s ballad songs for the reunion moment.
Mhm.
I'd just be laughing all day long and just saying, thank you, I love it. And it was just, would make my days, just the interaction with the fans. So it's my favorite thing.
Let's circle back
Sure.
to how you got the role of Kuiil in Star Wars, because as I understand it, that was your first role in Star Wars.
Yes, it was. I auditioned. I had a cold read audition with Seraphim Casting. I did not know what I was auditioning for. I arrived early because it just is one of those things too where, and it did add so much, to the character, because that day, I was having trouble with my ears. Like, I was born with a 65% hearing loss in my right ear. And things weren't going well. I had an ear doctor appointment before. I was like, everything's going to be fine because they're going to fix everything. It's going to be great. And didn't go well. They didn't fix anything. And I'm like on the phone ready to cry with my agent in front of the building saying, I cannot hear well. I, know how to read lips well, but this is just not good. But I feel like I need to go to this audition. I don't know why. Obviously, talking about it now, I know why. And she just told me, she's like, calm down, and just, I was like, can I go early and just look at the script? So, I kind of really have a hold of the whole thing. And they said yes, and I just went in, signed my NDA, and she's like, if you can't hear them, just politely ask them to speak up. And it's like, okay. So yeah, it just felt like there were these little barriers, but nothing was going to stop me from getting to that audition. And I had a lot of fun. I felt like I did well. I was just super proud of trying something new. And I just remember calling my agent after, and it's like, I think it went really well. I'm just proud that I did it, no matter what happens. And then a few weeks later, my agent called me, and she's like, where are you? I was like, I'm driving. She's like, you need to pull over. I was like, okay. And she's like, I'm sending you something. And it was my deal memo. And that's when I learned that it was Star Wars. And I was just like, oh my God. So yeah, there's like crying moments, and I like called her, and then I called my mom, and she's my brothers are just like, oh my God, you've made it. Because Star Wars. So yeah, but I feel like he's been, again, I've been making my way and navigating to this opportunity and this character throughout my career, and the type of work I've done and the skill set that I have as a suit performer. So, it's just, I feel very lucky and just grateful to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and everybody for giving me an opportunity to be able to breathe life into these characters and share them with all of the fans. So, it's cool.
Well, Misty, you are clearly a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
When did you become a fan of Star Wars? What was your Star Wars fan moment?
Ooh, fan moment I would say was Empire Strikes Back. I was super young, so that one, it was such a mixed feeling of, because I was a gymnast already for quite a few years, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 4 years into gymnastics. So handstands and, like front tucks and all of that. I was starting to learn how to do that. And so when I saw Luke, training with the coolest character I've ever seen in my life, Yoda, I literally thought to myself, I was like, I could be a Jedi. So, that was the first moment of I love this world so much, and I was just obsessed from then on. Yeah, it's cool, and I grew up with it. I don't remember the first film very well because I was too young, but we were there. I went with my whole family. They packed everybody in the car and we drove down and saw the movie together. And I just remember it was space, and it was, the music it was just big and cool. And, yeah, because my dad was a huge Star Wars fan. And, yeah, so we couldn't wait for, the second one to come out. And then especially the Return of the Jedi. So, it's been a part of my life for my whole life, and yeah, to be a part of it as characters in it, sort of doesn't feel real. It's like a dream, but a really good one. so
So you're at a point in your career. You just got the call that you are going to be in Star Wars. What was it like getting started in the world of Star Wars? What were some of your first interactions working on The Mandalorian? And did you know right away you were playing a character like Kuiil as soon as you got the call for the job? Or was that something they eased you into when you started going to set or rehearsals for the first few times?
For me, because he's complicated as far as a build of a character, my first, and I was just like, wait, what? Because again, they changed wording and there's no titles, nothing. I had no idea what I was auditioning for. But as soon as I got it, like I got calls that I had to go get my eyes measured. And it's like, what am I doing? So for his contacts, which were scleral, which is the whole eyeball contact, and then, it was contacts and the fitting for that and, legacy effects, fittings with them. And that's when I got to see pictures for the first time. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to play an older gentleman. And then I was just like, oh, wait, and I was like, okay, Ugnaughts is like, is there a reference? And, the only reference was Empire Strikes Back and putting Han into Carbonite. I was like, no. So I was like, okay, this is going to be good because I'm going to, redemption. And I got my scripts right away and immediately read them, and I was like a fan from like reading episode 1 and just like, wow, this show is really good. The writing was incredible. And, obviously when I got to the end of chapter 7, I was just like, just even as a fan, I was so sad. And I like literally put my script down and just had tears in my eyes. I was like, no. And then I reread it just in case I didn't read it right. And sure enough, yeah, we know the fate of this character. And it's like, I just got to Star Wars, darn it. And then I thought, well, I've got to make him then super memorable because he has such a short time, in the story. And also, too, just for me, it's like I really want to be a part of this universe for a while. And it's like, just, which I always do anyway, but it's like you got to give him 1,000% and go really deep. And so I did. I write out my scenes and the lines, not just mine, but everybody's, so that I can really get a feel. And when I do like housework or whatever, especially some of his bigger monologues, I say those out loud to just get a feel for moving with it. And, every once in a while after doing it for, I don't know, so many days, I'll have my little aha moments and just write notes down of, what I want to do with his arc. So, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And first interaction was with Dave Filoni. So, and I'm so glad I don't Google people especially that I'm going to work with, because I don't want to know, because I want to be nervous. And, he's just the most gentle and sweet and happy and unassuming guy you'll ever meet. So it's just cool we rehearsed a little bit, and he showed me more of the concept art, which Christian Alsman did for him, which I'm super grateful for, because again, the concept artists have a way of being able to, it's just this still frame picture, that they create that is beautiful, but I was able to like pull so much from that, just with like kind of his attitude, and I was like, he's cool, he's just doing his own thing. So, Dave showed me all of the concept art, and, at that time too, I was working with Brendan, mostly for Mando, and we were together and kind of got a feel for each other and just what our relationship was going to be. So, it was really cool, because Brendan's amazing, and we kind of hit it off immediately, and would always talk about the scenes and what we were going to do beforehand. So he did give me a heart attack once, which again, I don't think Brendan knew that the entire board of my animatronics was in my backpack. And he was just goofing around one day, and they called action, and he spun me around and dipped me, and he didn't realize how heavy I was, and it scared me, because I was like, don't drop me on my board and break everything back there. So he's like, oh my God. I was like, one, you're heavy, and two, I was like, yes, the animatronic board is behind me. I was like, because I literally had the death grip on him. I was like, don't drop me on my back. So it was pretty funny. He never did that again.
So let's get into the suit. What was the suit like? Apparently very heavy.
It's very heavy.
Full animatronic board, you said, is in the backpack.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like? And that's pretty clever, hiding all the animatronics in his practical parts of his suit. You got it in the backpack, which you would normally, as a fan, assume is probably full of tools, maybe some salvage or some droid parts and so on. But of course, the real life on set, behind the scenes thing is it's full of all of your animatronics. So where was it, like remote control animatronics to make the face and stuff move?
Yeah, like and they used the like his scarf, and they would always make sure it was pulled up back there, because behind his head were, I don't know, I didn't count. It was a lot. Like, it was just this thick it's wires. It was all of the wires that then went down and into the backpack. On the sides, these little things on each side, which I think people can see, those were a solid battery unit. So then they would plug that in from the backpack and be able to fire up everything in order to make his eyebrows and his face and his mouth move. So it was heavy. It was like, on my shoulders. The weight was on my shoulders, and then I would have my puppeteers kind of spread the wires out a little bit when I needed to turn and move my head a lot. So, and it was the first time I was in this type of animatronic head where my eyes were exposed. So his, the animatronics and everything of the face, usually they're a little more forward, so they're not right there, but his face was right next to mine. And sometimes when we'd be doing scenes with heavy dialogue for Kuiil, it would start pinching my cheek. And so I'd have to go like this and, tell him to stop. I was like, nope, 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 he's pinching me. So they would open the mouth really wide and someone would have to go in and pull that away from my cheek. And then they do a few tests opening the mouth and it's like, it's fine now. So just little things like that.
So Kuiil dies in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know before season 1 was finished that you were going to be back for season 2 to play the Frog Lady? Not necessarily know which role you were going to have, but just know that you were going to be back and involved again? Or did you have to audition again for season 2 of The Mandalorian?
For season 2, no, I didn't know if I would return. I was hoping, that maybe there'll be something for me. But again, I know that they have their the story and the idea of, and obviously this all revolves around Mando and Grogu. But yeah, I was really, really hoping to be able to come back, and super grateful when they did call and they're like, we have this little character and do you want to come down and start, maybe I was helping Legacy with the build and, getting everything ready, and I saw her and her face was really cute. I was like, okay, I could do something with this. But again, it was like, am I doing this or am I not doing it? And they're like, yeah. And I didn't audition for it, but I did go down with Dave and John to set, and we did a test with, for helping me to kind of find her energy and the way that she does move, so then we did like a cycle of different energy levels and stuff, and I think one of the stand-ins for Mando was there in costume so they could get a sense of our scale together too, and I watched those back, and I choose some things from that, but also too when I'm in scenes and doing the dialogue, that's where I feel like I do a much better job of bringing a character to life, because everything is kind of tangible, and there's dialogue and interaction with Mando. So it was really fun. So, and Pedro I got to work with him a lot because it was basically for our, that chapter, which was chapter 10. It was like me and Pedro and Grogu, which again, little guy is a puppet. So it was just the two of us and hanging out in ice caves all day. So, yeah.
What was it like bringing to life a character who is completely different from Kuiil? You go from being this older, retired character who has lived this long working life, who is just trying to live a life of peace, to a character who is still trying to find that peace in life. She's trying to get to her other half in the universe and start a family and start a new life, and this is her last chance. This is her with a stranger she's never met who is a mercenary, and her life and the life of her future children is at stake, but also there seems to be an air of positivity to this character because she seems very happy and sweet.
Yeah.
So what were there some challenges in pivoting to a completely different characterization like that, or was this something you were excited for?
I was definitely excited for it because it was nice to, to get to now after, breathing life into Kuiil, to breathe life into a female character. And again, Jon Favreau is a phenomenal writer. And, she is very sweet. I think she's just one of those unique characters where she knows exactly what she wants. And again, like you said, there is a level of, kind of like, stress and she knows, like, she just needs to get back to her husband. And when you know it and the momentum is love, she's she's not a Jedi. She's not a Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
She's just, one of those regular people that just wants to have her family. So there's never any need, I think, with that character for creating any strife or, she just wants to ride. It's that simple. So, but of course, for things like that, it never goes the way you think it's going to go. And I think that's a really important lesson about life, too. But yeah, he writes these characters that are super unique. And again, like, it was an opportunity even for Mando as well to learn from her, which is very gentle. She's polite. There's not like a mean bone in her body. And she was there to, be there to help and to support too. So, and neither Grogu or Mando have really experienced that in life. They've both experienced violence and, their families being torn apart and people always wanting something from them and not just someone who's, again, willing to just help out. And she's pretty cool with her blaster. I love that they just added that, like, if she has to, she'll use it, but it's not necessary. It's for safety more than anything. And she got to save Grogu from the ice spiders. So yeah, it was, I had a good time with her. And it was just such a unique story because, again, she's not about, these crazy adventures, but it was such a crazy, wild, like, journey on that chapter. And very action-packed for this very passive, gentle character. So it was pretty cool.
Well, Misty, we are just about out of time for today. Thank you so much for being with us. And we have a ton more questions I know we want to ask. And I know there's definitely going to be some comments on, well, what about this? What about this? And what about this? Mm-hmm. We're going to save those for next time.
Okay.
I'm thinking positively that there will probably be another visit sometime in the near future, which sure. I'm very much looking forward to. So I will leave us with one more question. Okay. What is probably your favorite memory from working on the set of Star Wars?
Oh my goodness. That's a hard question to put into just one memory. I think we've talked about it before. I think it was, again, because season 1, it was new. Mm-hmm. We were shooting something that, we didn't know if it would resonate with the Star Wars community. But I did know that it felt like A New Hope. It felt like Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. It's just that same feel, the same look. And so there's excitement and also nerves. You just really want the fans to like it. So I'd have to say, like, I have a lot of favorite memories, but I would want to share, because I've shared about our Halloween parade. But I think day 1, literally the first day of shooting Star Wars The Mandalorian, first scene up was an exterior, and it was just me and Mando, and it was us on the blurgs overlooking the encampment, and it was Kuiil talking to Mando. So it was a very dialogue heavy moment for us, which again is not just me, it's my team. Legacy effects and Nick Nolte, his voice tracks, and it was just this opportunity to be able to show them that we can do this and we can do it really well. And it was just that a beautiful moment too, where you got a feel for these two characters that don't know much about each other, but there was already this camaraderie, this respect being built, the lesson that Kuiil was teaching Mando, which, he's trying to hand him, credits for showing him how to get there, and Kuiil is just like, it's okay. And then, like, he's like, I've spoken, and just took off. So we shot that a few times, and then they moved on with their day, and it was just this moment of, whew, we did it. And it's like, I did my first Star Wars scene, and I was just like, we started really early in the morning because they were chasing the sun that whole day and shooting exteriors. And I did my thing, and then I went home, and it's like, I'm in Star Wars. So it was so cool. Yeah.
Well, Misty, thank you so much once again for joining us here on Rebelscum.com. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in and spending some time with Miss Misty Rosas, who poured a lot of love into the roles she's played in Star Wars so far. I very much really, truly hope to see you in Star Wars once again in the future, because you bring some wonderful life into some very big fan favorite characters for many Star Wars fans all around the world.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more awesome Star Wars celebrity interviews like this one right here with Miss Misty Rosas, who played Kuiil, the Frog Lady, and more in The Mandalorian. Stay tuned for future other content with Misty Rosas. I can't wait to have her back here in the studio to spend more time with us and you guys as well. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. May the Force be with all of you, you rebel scum.
I've spoken. Peace and love. Thanks for tuning in.